Yo, what's going on everyone? In today's video, I will be showing you the ultimate solo guide to completing the Cayo Perico heist in GTA 5 Online. And I will be covering the entire heist from the setups all the way to the Stealthy Elite Challenge finale, so if you go on to enjoy, please don't forget to drop a like on the video for me. But now let's get into this amazing Cayo Perico heist guide. Alright, so to start this heist, all we need to do first is enter inside the Kosatka and then walk upstairs to where the heist planning board is located to then click right D-pad to pay the $100,000 to start the Cayo Perico heist. From there, the first thing we need to do is the gather intel mission, which is the mission that will allow us to gather all of the intel on the Cayo Perico island. That way we know what we are going to be robbing during the actual finale. Once you start the gather intel mission, what we first need to do is go over to the area it is telling us to go over to, which is going to be an airplane guarded by some smugglers. So once you take out all of those smugglers, we can then get inside the airplane and then you'll see we need to fly it over to Cayo Perico. Once over on the Cayo Perico island, first things first, we need to start scoping it out for secondary target loot, and then after we can see what the primary target loot is. Which the first area to check out for secondary target loot is going to be here where we spawn at the airstrip. So first check out this entire area for secondary target loot by taking pictures of all of it. And then after we can go over to the second area, which is the only other area I recommend checking for secondary target loot, and that's going to be here at the North Dock. Because trust me, these two locations will be the easiest and also the best when it comes to looting for secondary target loot during the Cayo Perico heist finale, especially as a solo player. So once you scope out both locations, as I just did right here, whichever location has the best secondary target loot is going to be the one that you want to keep in mind, because that will be where we're going to be looting during the actual finale. As you could see, I only had 2 cokes over at the North Dock and I had 3 over at the airstrip. So of course that is where my better secondary target loot is going to be at. So that is where I will be looting personally during my finale. But as I said, if your loot was better over at the North Dock, then that is where you want to be looting instead of the airstrip. Just basically loot wherever the loot is best at. Once you finish scoping those 2 areas for secondary target loot, we can now go over to this area where I'm located to now start heading over to the communications tower, which this way I'm going right now is definitely the fastest way over there on this motorcycle. Which once you are over the hill, you want to once again follow exactly where I'm going over to the communications tower, while also keeping in mind that sometimes there will be some guards driving around these roads. So if there is, just make sure you avoid their cones of vision. And yeah, as long as you avoided all of the cones of vision on the way over to where I was going over to the communications tower, you should have been able to make it there in literally under 1 minute. Once there though, we now need to scope out this entire area for the signal box, which could either be at the very bottom where I'm at right here, or also at the very top like it ended up being for me. Wherever it was though, once you find the signal box, simply click right D-pad to hack into it and complete the simple hack. Once you hack into it, you are then going to be completely done, and now we can see what is the primary target inside the actual compound. To do this, open the phone, go over to the Sightseer app and then scope all of the security cameras. Then you'll see here inside of the vault, the primary target will be whatever it is for you. Which, as you could see, I ended up getting the Panther statue for my primary target, which is the best possible primary target to get during the Cayo Perico heist, but it's also a limited time primary target, which currently the week I'm recording this video, it is actually going to be guaranteed on your very first attempt. Anyway though, once you scoped out what your primary target was inside the vaults, there is no need to scope out any of the other cameras. We can now literally leave the entire Cayo Perico island and start doing all of the preps for the heist. So once back over in Los Santos and back inside the Kosatka, we can go over to the heist planning board once again to start doing the preps, which the first prep we need to do is here at the approach vehicles. You'll see we have a bunch of options, but the best option I recommend choosing is the approach vehicle long fin prep. This prep is really easy. All you need to do is go over to the location it is telling you to go over to, which once over there, I recommend parking somewhere nearby and then calling out your Phantom Wedge truck if you own one. This definitely is the fastest and easiest way to do this prep, so I definitely recommend owning this truck if you don't own it. But once you have your Phantom Wedge called out, you want to get inside of it and then back it up into where the long fin is located. Once you back it up into where the long fin is at, just hook it up and then drive out of this area. Once you drove a distance away from that police station, you now want to open up your pause menu and mark this exact location on the map. This will be where the location of the drop-off is for this long fin. So once over there, you'll of course probably still have the cops, so that's completely fine. Just hop out of this phantom wedge and then blow yourself up with anything explosive like a grenade. Then boom, once you spawn in, you'll see we have no more cops, so all we need to do from here is go back over to the truck to enter inside and then deliver it here to the actual destination, which is just in front of us. And boom, just like that, we are completely done doing the approach vehicle prep. Now let's get into doing the next equipment preps. Alright, so getting into the equipment preps now, don't worry about the demolition charges, that one we don't even need to do. The first equipment prep that we definitely need to do though is the plasma cutter prep. Which this one is very simple. What we first need to do is go over to the safe house location, which once over there you want to enter inside and then immediately open up your phone to snap a picture of the entire room. Then just simply send it to Pavel, and after we can exit this room, which once we exit we need to go over to the Rockford Hills location, which over at that location will be some guards guarding a plasma cutter. So with that said, I recommend using a vehicle with some missiles like a Sparrow or even an Oppressor Mark II, that way you can easily lock onto them and take them out with a few missiles, just as I did here. After you took them out though, you then want to go over to where the plasma cutter is located at and then pick it up. Once you pick it up, of course, there will probably be some smugglers who spawn in nearby, so be careful and also take them out if they do come really close. But once you did pick up the plasma cutter, we can then deliver this over to the Kosatka, which once we do, we are then completely done doing this first equipment prep. Alright, but getting into the second equipment prep, this one is called the fingerprint cloner, which is a really easy one. What we first need to do is go over to the location of the warehouse. Once over there, you then want to break inside, which once inside, immediately take cover because there will be a whole bunch of guards inside of here trying to take you out. So once taking cover, just make sure you take them out one by one, that way they don't completely blast you, and after you can then go over to the back of the room where the laptop is at to then hack into it. Once you successfully hack the laptop, you'll then get the real location of where the archive is, so once you get that location you want to go over there, which once over there you want to break inside. Once inside, we are now going to be searching this entire room for a fingerprint cloner, which is pretty small, but it's usually on this table here at the back. So once you do collect the fingerprint cloner, we are basically completely done now. All we need to do is leave this archive. And then from here, we just need to deliver over to the Kosatka, which once we deliver over there, we are now completely done doing the second equipment prep. All we need to do is one more. Alright, so for the last equipment prep, this one is called Cutting Torch, which is definitely the easiest prep out of all three, and what we first need to do is go over to a random construction site. Once over at that construction site, before you even go near any one of the construction workers, you want to first look for an area where there is going to be a construction hat. Once you find that, you want to go up to it and click right D-pad to put that hat on. And it's super important that you do this because without this hard hat on, if you enter inside the construction site, all of these construction workers will be alerted and automatically start shooting you. But of course, with this hat on, we are camouflaged, so once you enter inside the construction site, we now need to search all of the toolboxes for the one with the cutting torch inside, which I got lucky and found it in my first toolbox. Once you found it and click right D-pad to pick it up, all we now need to do is simply deliver this back over to the Kosatka, and once you deliver it inside there, just like that, boom, we are now done doing all of the equipment preps. But we are not done yet. Don't worry though, there's only one more thing to do, which is going to be the weapon loadout prep, and for this one, you could pick whichever one of these weapons you want to use, but personally, I always use the aggressor loadout. So once you launch this mission, you'll then be given a random apartment to go over to, so go over to that apartment, and I recommend taking a Sparrow, that way you can fly and land on the roof. Once you landed on the roof, you'll now see the entrance here on top, so go over to it to enter inside, and once inside here, you'll now see a whole bunch of guards that we now need to take out. Then once you take out all of the guards, we want to search for the gun locker, which is right here behind the main office desk, but once you go up to it to click right D-pad, it will be locked. From there, go over to this desk and click right D-pad to hack the laptop. Once you hack the laptop, the gun locker should be able to open, so go up to it now and click right D-pad. From there, it will open, then walk up to it to click right D-pad, and then you'll just be given the gun loadout just like that. Then from here, all we need to do is simply exit the office, which make sure once you exit the office that you click left on the D-pad, that way you exit through the roof and not to the bottom floor. Then once outside, it is so simple. All we need to do is simply deliver these weapons back over to the Kosatka, and just like that, we are now done doing all of the preps for the Cayo Perico heist. Alright, so we are now officially ready to start the finale, and to start the finale you just want to go over to your heist planning board and click right D-pad. It'll say mandatory preps complete. From there, accept the alert. Then go over to where it says finale to then start the finale of this heist, and once in the finale, as far as the settings go, you want to go over to where it says approach vehicle first, and of course set that to the long fin. Then go down to where it says infiltration point, and if your loot was best at the airstrip, then set it to the main dock, but if it was best over at the north dock, then of course set it to the north dock. In this case for me, it was best at the airstrip, so I'm going to be setting mine to the main dock. Anyway, from there go down to where it says compound entry point and set that to the drainage tunnel. Then go down to escape point and set that to the same thing you set your infiltration point to. Then go down to where it says time of day, set that to daytime, and then weapon loadout to then of course put suppressors on your weapon, which is very important. After that, go down to where it says continue, and we can now officially launch the finale, which we are of course going to be doing 100% solo as we have been doing this entire time. And in this finale, I will be showing you how to do it with a completely full loot bag in under 10 minutes while also completing the elite challenge, which is very easy. So let's get into how to do all of this. Alright, so first things first, as I said, my secondary target loot was best over here at the airstrip, so I'm going to be going over here to where the airstrip is at and parking my boat just like so. That way it's easy for me to leave once I come back to my boat. From here, follow exactly where I'm going over here to this hangar, and you'll see one guard at the front. You can actually take him out if you want to, but personally I never really take him out because he's not really too much of an issue. Anyway, once inside this hangar, you of course can now start looting all of the loot inside, which for me, all of the coke was at the bottom floor, which was very easy for me to loot and get a completely full loot bag. And actually 2 piles of coke like I got here at the bottom floor is the best case scenario because these 2 will fill up our loot bag 100% full, which is exactly what we want. Once you did fill up your loot bag, in case your loot was over at the other location across from the hangar, let me quickly show you how to go loot that area. So to loot the other area, it is pretty simple. Follow where I'm going over here on top of this roof and then pull out your weapon to shoot this guard on top of that other building. After that, go over here to where this camera is at and shoot it. Then simply drop down and enter inside this area where the secondary target loot is located at, but do not enter close to where that gate is at because we want to wait for that guard in the minimap to start walking away from us. Just like that, once he is walking away, now you can actually walk up to the gate and burn it open to then of course start looting all of your secondary target loot here. Anyway though, once you filled up your loot bag 100% full, we are now ready to start entering El Rubio's compound. So go back over to the boat longfin and then start driving over to the back entrance where the drainage tunnel is. From there, jump out the boat once you are right here behind where the drainage tunnel entrance is, and then swim up to it. Once you swim up to it, click right D-pad to start beginning to cutting torch open this grate. Once you successfully cutting torch open this grate, you now want to swim through the entire tunnel, and once at the very end, click right D-pad, then you'll be put through a cutscene of you breaking into El Rubio's compound. Then once inside the compound, this is definitely the easiest part, don't worry. All you want to do is follow exactly where I'm going all the way over here, over this railing, through this area, take a left here, and then go over this other railing. Then you want to wait at the bottom of these stairs until that security guard there in front of us starts walking the other direction. Once he walks away just like that, we now can start following where I'm going once again, which is just simply here up these stairs along this building and then right behind this other guard. Don't worry, he won't see us, and then up these next flights of stairs. But at this point, be very careful. You want to slow down and then lean up against this wall and wait for the security guard here in front of us to walk right past us. And boom, just like that, we are now inside of El Rubio's office. Once inside the office, you want to go over to his secret safe and click right D-pad to take all of the money that is inside of there. Next, you want to come over to this section right here where there's going to be the fingerprint cloner, and you want to do the easy fingerprint cloner hack for the Cayo Perico heist, which I'm pretty sure everyone here knows how to do, which is very easy. Anyway, once you successfully hack that fingerprint cloner, we can then enter inside this elevator to click right D-pad, and now we'll be inside the underground vault. From there, walk up to this door to click right D-pad to burn it open with our cutting torch. Then of course, in here will be your primary target, which is the main loot for the Cayo Perico heist. And as I said, in this case for me, it was the best case scenario, which was the Panther statue as the primary target. And this primary target alone is worth $1.9 million, which is pretty insane. Anyway though, once you successfully steal the primary target inside this vault, we can now exit the compound by going back over to the elevator and clicking right D-pad. And to escape the compound, it is pretty simple. It's pretty much the same way that we entered inside. So just go back down all of these flights of stairs and then go right here to this point here. Just make sure you are very careful and wait here until that juggernaut walks all the way past, and also that the security guard here in front of us also walks back the other way. Once those two scenarios align just like this, the security guard is walking the other way and the juggernaut is now going away, we can now go down these next flights of stairs, up this other flight of stairs, and here will be the actual entrance of the compound. We can now walk up to it and click right D-pad, and boom, just like that, we are now going to be leaving the compound. Pretty simple. As long as you followed exactly what I said in this entire guide, you should have been able to do it completely stealthy while inside the compound without taking out any guards. Once outside the compound, it is so simple though. This is the part where we need to start taking out guards though, so go over here in front of us where this first guard is to take him out and then get on top of this motorcycle. Once on the bike, drive it over here to where this helicopter is at and take out the guard that is guarding the helicopter just like so. After that, drive the bike once again over here to where the side road is, where there is going to be one more guard driving a car. Once you find him, simply take him out with a simple headshot. And boom, that's it. All we need to do is take out those 3 guards. That's the only guards that we need to take out the entire heist, only 3. After we did that, we can now follow where I'm going with my bike, driving all the way over here off of this cliff into the ocean. Then once in the ocean, swim all the way out exactly as I'm doing here over this pile of whale bones. And once you see the pile of whale bones, that's how you know the Cayo Perico heist will now be finishing. And boom, just like that, you'll now be put through the cutscene of you finishing the Cayo Perico heist, which we did 100% solo, 100% stealthy, and we also completed the elite challenge as long as you followed exactly what I told you in this guide. Which, take a look here, heist passed. I of course got platinum because I was the only person in this heist. The potential take was 6.2 million. My actual take was 2.05 million. And take a look, here's how much money you'll get paid for completing the elite challenge, which was to finish in under 15 minutes, have 0 hacks failed, and also have a completely full loot bag. That got us an extra almost $50,000, which brought us up to $2.1 million at the very end for completing the Cayo Perico heist as a solo player. Which, if you ask me, that is some pretty darn good money to be earning, especially considering that we did all of this in under 1 hour. But yeah, take a look here. Here's my full stats. I completed this heist in under 10 minutes, which I probably could have done a little bit faster. But the reason I got this fat check, of course, was because take a look there. My primary target was indeed the Panther statue. Anyway though, that is now going to be the end of today's video. You officially know how to complete the entire Cayo Perico heist as a solo player the best way possible to earn you the most amount of money possible, while also completing the elite challenge completely stealthy. Like I said at the beginning, if you went on to enjoy the video and you still haven't already, please do me a favor by going down below and dropping a like on the video before you click off. And of course, if you aren't, make sure you also hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any future GTA 5 online videos just like this one from me. But until next time, I will see you all in my very next video. Peace.